Good evening. I'm Ryan Daly, and this is Flight in Space and the Environment. This course is a Project Lead the Way Gateway course and is split in half, with Term 1 focusing on flight in space and Term 2 focusing in on energy and the environment. This class is a mix of hands-on and online learning in a project-driven setting. The expectations for the students are posted in the classroom, and they were presented as shown here on the first day, with the highlight being the phone and device being kept in their bags during the course of class. However, there are times where students are allowed to and encouraged to use their devices to record their work, to record data, and to document their work in class. The class is a project-based class. As a result, projects are the primary mode of grading at the end of each unit. We don't do tests except at the end of each of our individual sections. Quizzes make up 25% of the grade. Those range, sometimes multiple choice, sometimes drag and drop, but they are announced. There is nothing that is unannounced. Homework and assignments make up 30% of the grade combined, 15% each. And that's our daily work, whether it be something that the students are asked to finish at home or something that we know we can finish in class, that the students will have an opportunity during the 70-minute block to complete their tasks. Effort and participation is a 10% of the grade and revolves around their participation in discussions, their showing up to class, participating in the class in an appropriate manner, using their time well when given time in class. The overall report card average is broken up into really three categories, which is the Term 1 grade, the Term 2 grade, which make up 80%, and then the portfolio that the students will work on throughout the course, and they've actually already started, which makes up 20% of their grade for their report card average at the end. So, what is this first half of the course? The first half of the course revolves around flight in space. They are broken up into 3 units. We are actually just wrapping up our first unit on flight, and students are actually completing the end of unit project over the last week. Space is our second unit, where students will have the opportunity to learn about and talk about not just space as in where the planets are, but more so around our astronauts and our NASA program and the International Space Station, and how we have flown and exist in space as humans. Our third unit is a little bit different in that it is a complete project. There's no actual instruction from me on lesson 3. Lesson 3 is an application project where they will utilize the skills and the terminology that they learned in lesson 1 and lesson 2 to solve a scenario where they are tasked with setting up and planning a trip to Mars. And in the past, we've run this for the last year. Students have really enjoyed that project quite a bit, getting a chance to both plan, but also then to build a Mars rover to drop test and see if they can create something that will withstand a drop, but also then be utilized for their colonists to populate Mars. The course itself has an online learning management system. All students have been given access to that. They all have usernames and passwords. And that's what this screen on the right is. It's actually their online course above and beyond their Google Classroom. There are some distance learning supports in place just in case there is a remote aspect of things at any point in time during the course of the class. So we don't shut down and stop and have any problems. We actually kind of move pretty quickly through it. So as I said, Unit 1, this is what they have just finished and wrapped up. We covered forces of flight, test flights, flight planning, taking off through the use of gliders, and then the actual preparation for a flight, like creating a flight plan and staffing the flight. They are, as I said, finishing up their first project where they were tasked with planning out a flight and then also creating a glider utilizing the skills they learned regarding airfoils to design a glider, a jet, that would be able to travel a specific distance and land on an airstrip that we have set up in the classroom. Unit 2, as I said, is all regarding space. We actually go into the depth of explorers, who's been there, what have we found, what information is out there, also what's going on today, and what, if anything, is being talked about for the future. Currently, obviously, with everything going on with our SpaceX and some of the other companies that are now trying to get into space and are getting into space, there's a lot to talk about there. Liftoff, we start to talk about how the forces of flight are applied to space travel and more so about getting up off the ground, not once we're in space. Then we start to talk about the systems in a space shuttle and in and on a space station and how those things keep our astronauts alive. We cover and talk a little bit about the exercise and zero-G environment and how that affects the human body. And then we actually even talk about the food aspect of things and how astronauts eat, drink, and survive in space, and how the systems on the shuttles and in the space stations are designed to keep the astronauts alive when there is nothing that they could go out and just grab. There is no convenience store in space for them to go to. No spaceports yet. No Mos Eisleys that they can go drop off and pick up a drink at. As I said, the last project that we'll be doing probably probably the last thing we'll cover most of November for, so the first half of November through report card, is the Mission to Mars project. This, as I said, is a project that they will have the opportunity to cover every day when they come in. All I do is check in with them to make sure that we're on task. They'll have 5 to 7 classes to work on this particular project for Unit 3. And as I said, that will wrap up our study of flight and space. The energy and the environment section of the course, we actually haven't run yet. We haven't been able to because of the schedule. So I'm pretty excited to be going into that with them as well. They'll get the opportunity to talk about different forms of energy. They'll do some research projects. We'll look at some of the different types of energy that come from different areas like wind, water, but we will also look at how even chemicals are being used to generate energy, the pros and cons, what works, what doesn't work, and they'll be given a bunch of different scenarios looking at how these things play a role in our environment and what we need to do in order to look to green alternatives, and how those are changing what we currently use and where we're currently going in terms of carbon footprint, and even how it's affecting the technology that exists, like with automobiles, and the dawn of the electric vehicle, and how that's affecting things, wind farms, water farms, solar farms, and how those are being utilized, and other potential areas that we can apply those technologies to. Again, that's another project-driven section of things, and they will get the opportunity to get their hands on different materials and create a variety of different projects throughout the course of that study. But they are my first group to go through it, so I'm not sure if we'll finish the whole thing or if we'll get through the majority of it. Flight and space is moving at a pretty good pace so far, so I'm not too concerned in regards to us finishing on time with that, so we shouldn't have any carryover. And if we do get the opportunity to start early, we will start early in November if we move through space pretty quickly. But it took us a month to go through. Took us a few weeks to go through flight. I expect about the same from space. So we'll see how it all plays out. But so far, students seem to be enjoying the class. I hope they are. If you do have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. My after school hours are Mondays and Wednesdays from 2 to 2:30. Email is the best way to get a hold of me. Either preferably the non-student email. I check that a little more frequently. And again, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm happy to answer any questions you have regarding grades or regarding your students' progress. All right. Thank you very much. Take care.